Good morning, and welcome back to the Church of Doom, brothers and sisters. It is I, your RPG prophet, Landon Father Doom guest, and today I'm very excited. We're going to be doing all brainstorming all the time. We are going to be working on, let me get it switched over here. We're going to be brainstorming arcane theories. We're going to be doing arcane trinkets, and we're going to do arcane encounters. All things that you might find in a mage's dungeon, because that is the zine we are publishing on the church's Patreon this month. Real quick, I'll kind of just show you, if you haven't seen already, some of the pages we've already got ready for the zine. We've got 1d6 wizard quests. We've got 1d8 dark consequences, things that would happen if your torch went out, like in a mage's dungeon, something like that. You got 1d10 mage's dungeons themselves, give you some cool themes to kick off your prep, or just a one-shot or an adventure or something like that. Then you've also got 1d10 arcane chambers, weird rooms you could find perhaps in one of these dungeons, or just in a random dungeon you're exploring. And then our most recent page, oh actually no, we had two recent pages. We had 1d8 mad mages themselves, some creepy, crazy, weirdo magic users to populate your dungeons with and pit your players up against. And then we had 1d8 arcane minions was our most recent one. And I think the art for this one came out really bizarrely cool. I think it's very fun. So we've got 3 new tables we're going to work on today. All of these will go up on the Patreon as part of the Sunday Homebrew this upcoming Sunday, and then all this will get published together as a zine at the end of the month. On the topic of zines, you guys already know the quick announcement I'm about to share with y'all. The Wretched Tropics, my next Kickstarter, launches July 7th, so that's coming up pretty quickly. It is a micro setting zine, so it's all about this wretched sulfuric volcanic jungle controlled by an ancient black dragon named Facepalker, who slumbers within the wretched peak at the center of this peninsula. So you'll get a rundown of the lore of the areas. You'll get a full hexcrawl map that you can explore with your players. It's really, really fun. And then you get each of the areas on the map is fleshed out with art about that area and a bunch of, like a quick little D8, D10, D12 list of core lore about that region so you can quickly get familiar with it, run it in a cool campaign. So if you want to support the church, if you want to back that, the link to do so is pinned in the chat, also at the top of the description. But that's really it for the announcements. I don't want to spend too much time on that. Let's jump into our brainstorming, why don't we, yeah? And also, hello Samael, hello, Mother Doom. Oh, Mike is sounding a little odd. Is it? Uh-oh. I don't know why that would be. Also, good morning, Samuel. Hold on, let me know. I'm going to unplug it. Here for a sec. Also, oh, before I forget. Very nice. All right, boys and girls. You guys know how we like to do this around the Church of Doom when we're brainstorming lists. We get our keywords first. We give ourselves a fun word, something inspiring to jump off of with the rest of the idea, sort of fuel it, instead of trying to come up with an entire idea just from scratch, which can be really difficult to do at times. So, oh, thank you, Mother Doom. That is better now. Okay, I have no idea why it was wonky at the beginning. That's annoying. Anyways, we'll just keep chugging along, right? So, Samael, you're hanging out with me in the chat. Mother Doom, you feel free to contribute ideas as well as if you'd like. But arcane theories. This is a list of like bizarre, weird beliefs or kind of scientific experiments or obviously theories about the planes or existence or monsters, anything sort of like that a wizard might have. And these ideas are sort of meant to either fuel the wizard's actions in the world. What are they doing? What are the things they're collecting? What are they trying to build? That can make it interesting for a story, or fuel like some fun roleplay, right? When your wizard in the party meets the arch wizard in the tower, what is the thing that they might want to discuss with that player about their beliefs of the world and kind of challenge each other and have a fun wizardy sort of conversation. So let's get our keywords. What are some cool ones that would fuel, here, I'm going to stay zoomed out. I'm going to do my best to remember to do that so we can actually see the table we're working on. What would be some cool ones? I feel like a keyword that's jumping to mind is teleportation. Some sort of cool theory about teleportation or the way that it could work. Do we do something like electricity? Or does that feel too like modern, too meta-y? I feel like we don't need to do electricity, but maybe there's something similar we could do. What's up? Hey, hello, Taylor Moon. It's all super, yeah. Oh, super, maybe, so they have a theory about like magic's all made up or like not what we think it is. Is that sort of what you're pitching? Hello, Taylor Moon. That could be cool. Ooh, I like that one from Moosey. Reincarnation. That's a good one. I also think, what about divinity? Like maybe this wizard has a very specific belief about what godhood even is, and how do you achieve it? Um, that could be interesting. What about? I feel like we could. I keep going back to like lightning, electricity, batteries, but that's been done before, so I don't want to do. Don't want to do that. Ooh, what about timelines? Some sort of cool theory about when does the timeline branch? What does the timeline look like? Are there even multiple timelines, or is there just one? Maybe we could come up with a cool idea there. Hello Taylor Moon says more like old wives' tales. Maybe if that makes sense. Arcane theories. It's all superstition. So they think. So what about? Okay, maybe I'm kind of getting what you're going for. I'm just gonna call you Taylor. Uh, what about some sort of belief that like rather than their beliefs being grounded in science, it's more of like kind of what you're saying, superstition, ghost story. They have like weird non-scientifical beliefs of why things happen. Does that make sense? I think we're sort of on the same page there, Taylor, but we'll put that down as one of the keywords. Somebody else says thunder is always associated with power, so the electricity can be some sort of form of like thunder or lightning manifestation. Power source instead of electricity. That's a great keyword. Thank you, Musa. Yeah, I like that. So we've got teleportation, reincarnation, divinity, timelines, ghosts, power source. Is that? I think that might actually be 2 words. 2 more keywords. We'll keep it at a D8 list for now. Oh, sweet, Taylor. We're on the same page. Okay, let me see. What other ones could I come up with? What about something of like hatching, egg themed, like incubating? Maybe they're trying to like take people and find a way for them to um not repop. What the hell's the word for like create the next generation? Why am I totally blanking on this word? Basically, like the way that a new human comes to be isn't through like actually having a baby, but instead maybe putting them into eggs. I don't know why. That's like a weird, creepy theory that a wizard could be experimenting with. Maybe we could just do some sort of like evolution. Maybe that's kind of the key word I'm thinking about here. They're doing weird things to people to see how to make them better, make them survive better. That could be fun. Metamorphosis, sort of in the same realm. Yeah, kind of what I was thinking, Taylor. That's cool. Oh, Moosey hit it right on the head with evolution. Gestation's a creepy word too. Yeah, I've used that one in the past. It's super creepy. I think I want to stick with evolution because to me that implies, well, metamorphosis actually might even be cooler. I might change it to metamorphosis. That's a good one. One more. I'm looking at like my miniatures and things, seeing if there's anything weird there that inspires me. Maybe, I have like this big jug of Elmer's glue. Maybe something about like the fabric of reality, what like holds things together. What's a good word for that? Like like physics? Maybe they just have a weird theory on what physics actually are or is. Physics. Sure, we'll run with that. All right, let's jump into it. If you're new to these streams, if you don't know how we necessarily do this, if you see something on this list, you're like, "Oh, I've got an idea for timelines." Then in the chat, put in brackets timelines and then share your idea. It just makes it easy for me to sort of pick them out in the chat. But let's get actually fleshing these ideas out, and then we'll move on to our next list. What's one that jumps out to me? What does this wizard have a crazy theory about? Ooh, I've got one. Maybe with timelines. They believe that whenever you die, you are reincarnated in your own body and begin your timeline all over again. Does that make sense? Like if you're dead, you're just reborn. Literally, like however you came into being in this world, you are born again, sort of almost like you take a few of your memories. Maybe you take a few of your memories, but you don't even necessarily know you have them. They're like subconscious, and you start the whole thing over again. But it's not like it is sort of a different timeline, but it's like, man, now this theory is confusing me. I actually don't know if it's a cool idea. The wizard believes when you die, you are born again in your same body. You're not like reincarnated as like a flower or something. and you simply... Maybe that is kind of cool. You're just born again, but in a totally different timeline. But sort of everything starts the same. And it's just like, where do you end up at the end of this slightly different timeline? With everything being the same as it was when it first started. I might even add that detail. Everything is the same when you start. But it's all about how it ends differently. I don't know if that makes sense, but it seems cool to me. Okay? Anybody got one? Hello, Taylor's talking about maybe for teleportation, you move through a different dimension when you teleport. Oh, it's kind of like 40k vibes, Warhammer 40k. Whenever you're teleporting or doing like hyperspeed, you go into the realm of chaos. What do they call that? The Immaterium? They also have another... Oh, the Warp. Yeah, that could be interesting. Teleportation. What could we do to make it unique so it's not the total same as 40k? Teleportation is... Yeah, it's a cool start to an idea. How do we make it, like, what kind of pushes it over the edge? Umusi had one for timelines. Memories could be deja vu. Memories. Oh, so sort of building off of the... Oh, I see what you're saying. So when you are reborn and you're starting your timeline over again. Ooh, that's kind of actually probably a better way to phrase it. You start your timeline over again. Oh, wait, I already said that. Well, then there we go. I guess I can kind of delete some of this out. But yeah, whenever you have a deja vu, it's because, whoa, you did a similar experience in your previous time, one of your previous timelines. Something really, really similar to what's happening right now already occurred. That's a cool idea. That's a fun little detail to add on to there. Okay, teleportation. You move through another plane. Your essence is like scattered across multiple planes and reconvenes. Your body moves through like a ley line of magic, maybe. Or maybe like they imagine like when you teleport, you're being rearranged like a chess piece on a board. That feels a little too like the gods are involved. There's too much tactic behind it in like a big scheme, when it's like you could just be teleporting somewhere totally random and there's nothing necessarily to it. Oh, that's a cool little fun fact from Samael. In 40k, Chaos, the Realm of Chaos is called both the Warp and the Immaterium, but I didn't know that Immaterium is like the High Gothic scientific name and the Warp is the common name. That's a cool little fact. Moosey says maybe for teleportation, it's a path from one place to another that could be interrupted. Yeah, I feel like we're circling something cool. I'm trying to imagine, like, what is the threat in this shortcut? Like, it almost sounds like we're saying you're, like, trespassing somewhere. But again, that feels so similar to Chaos that it's not quite there for me yet. Maybe it's like when you teleport, your mind is separated from your body momentarily. Like your consciousness is teleported before your body. Like your body sort of follows you, and so there's a greater risk of being possessed. That's like similar to Chaos, but feels a little different. What did Taylor say? Teleportation could be that you Star Trek it, where it breaks you down and rebuilds you somewhere else, and there's a chance something gets left behind. Yeah, I feel like we're kind of in the same mind space here. Let's go with when you teleport, it is your mind that arrives at the destination before your physical body, meaning there is a greater risk that something possesses or alters your physical form. That seems cool. It seems like we're getting somewhere that's a little different. We have an idea of what the threat is. But is it a ghost? Is it a demon? Is it a who knows what? It's kind of cool. Okay. Let's move on. We've got teleportation. We've got timelines. Let's leave those ones alone. What's up, Colin Lee? Welcome in. We are working on Some arcane theories. We've got a couple keywords here that need ideas, though. What could we do? Which one's standing out to me? What about ghosts? What's a weird arcane theory that a wizard could have about ghosts? Something about maybe what their ectoplasm could be used for. Kind of getting into like Blades in the Dark sort of vibe. Although in Blades in the Dark, it's like the oil from these big hellish whales that sort of powers things. And I think like electricity kind of keeps ghosts out. I think that's sort of the lore of Blades in the Dark. So what could we do that's maybe in a similar vein but slightly different? If you can capture a ghost and harness its powers, you can what? Maybe something about when you destroy a ghost. Whenever you destroy a ghost, there is a temporary portal that is open to the ethereal plane. That's maybe kind of interesting. And the more ghosts you can like destroy or control in that moment of destruction, the more solid the doorway becomes. That's interesting. I kind of like that. When a ghost is destroyed, there is a temporary portal opened to the spirit realm. The more ghosts that are destroyed, the more solid that doorway becomes. Cool. We got that one. That's fun. What else? Who's got one for reincarnation, divinity, power source, metamorphosis, or physics? Those are ones we've got left over. Metamorphosis is a cool one. Maybe this is so many things that are inspired by 40K in my D&D, but like maybe they believe that it is the inevitable fate of humans to become magical beings, and they are performing experiments to help get us there. Sort of like how psychers in the 40K universe are like mutated humans, sort of the next evolution, and they can tap into the warp. Kind of something similar, but we're not talking about warp, and it's not all necessarily psychers, but like maybe this mage is like trying to find ways to like inject monster DNA into our bodies to like cause that evolution to occur quicker. I kind of like that idea. Let's run with it. It is the inevitable fate of mortal, or of, maybe we'll just say humans, to become magical beings, and their experiments will help us get there. Maybe we'll call them monstrous. And their genetic experiments will help us get there at any cost. There we go. There we go. Cool. What else? We got 2 ideas that got dropped in the chat. Moosey said, maybe an idea for ghosts could be that the spirits are not just dead people, but versions of a person could be from other timelines trying to take their body back, which causes that feeling like being watched, hunted around. Oh, that's cool. Yeah, that's a fun one. They're reincarnate. Well, but the way, at least from what we pitched currently, the theory that this wizard has about timelines is that there's not multiple of them, but it's just whenever you die, you are starting your timeline all over again. So you don't necessarily, there aren't like multiple spirits of one person. You still only have one soul. It's just kind of going back in time. So based off the current theory that's been proposed, actually, that in your theory could not possibly work, Moosey. But it is a cool idea. Taylor's got one for reincarnation. Every time you are reborn, you lose a part of your humanity, empathy, or sense of self. Ooh, that's a cool one. Every time you're reincarnated. You lose a little bit of yourself. Is it like your humanity, maybe? Or Semiles also got one for metamorphosis. They're self-forcing random mutations within themselves to ascend to a new form of life. Yeah, could be also kind of cool. I'm sure as part of their experiments to get people to become magical beings, they've done stuff to themselves for sure. Yeah, Taylor, I see what you're going for. The more villainous someone is kind of implies the more lives they've lived or the more they've come back. Or what about the more times you come back, the more susceptible. Is that how you susceptible? I don't know how to spell susceptible. Susceptible. How the hell do you spell this? Oh, there. Wow. Okay, I was sort of close. The more susceptible your soul is to possession or corruption. So it's not necessarily that when you come back, like we have to change your character's ideal or change their stats. It could just be simply like now, like when you come back, your saves against maybe like a ghost's possession ability or a demon, any spell that a demon casts, maybe you have like disadvantage on the saves now. And it could be maybe like temporary, maybe it's not forever, but I like that idea that your soul's tether to your physical being has gotten a little bit weaker. Ooh, maybe what's a little detail we'll add? Your soul's tether is weakened. It's like when you repair something. What's a good example? I feel like I've heard this before. Like, whenever something's broken and you super glue it back together or whatever, like, yes, it's put back together, but it's easier to break again. And it's only going to continue to get easier and easier to break. So sort of take that and apply it to the soul. That's a really cool idea, Taylor. Love that one. Oh, hell yeah, Colin. What you got for physics? The wizard, like Leonardo da Vinci. Oh, shoot, you just deleted it. Okay. What else could we do? So we've got divinity, power source, and physics left over. Colin, I'd love to get yours for physics if we drop it back in there. What's power source? Maybe they have a theory that when a god dies, it generates enough power to create a new universe. Kind of a super crazy one. Kind of in that realm of like Oppenheimer, atomic bomb, what's like Big Bang sort of theories. Oh, I like that. I might run with that. When a god dies, enough arcane power is released to create a new universe. And then what? The god dies, and somewhere, like wherever their consciousness or the soul of that god, when it is snuffed out, it becomes the astral stars and the dust that creates the next or a new universe that is, I guess, sort of just themed around that god. Kind of could be a cool explanation for why there's so many different planes of existence and why some of them are so weirdly hyper specific with their themes or whatever. It's because it's all around that one god who died. That could be fun. Here we go. Colin dropped their physics one back. Wizards like Leonardo da Vinci, or they're a wizard like Leonardo da Vinci who works with dead bodies or humanoids to know them medically and also with armor measurements. That's cool. It's not quite what I think we were imagining for physics as a keyword. Yeah, that's an interest. It's like a cool maybe NPC idea of like a wizard studying anatomy, but I don't know if it's necessarily a theory quite yet. But maybe you can craft it into one, Colin. Maybe you can push it a little bit further. Do I want to add anything to the power source idea? When a god dies, enough arcane power is released to create a new universe that is directly influenced in its design and properties by the god's own beliefs and domains, maybe? Like when a god of seas dies, a god of an ocean is killed, then that new universe or that new plane of existence that is created is heavily, heavily themed around water. It could be like the plane of water was created when a god of the ocean died, or it could just be like the world at this, the world at the center of this universe, the world where the stories would take place, is a flooded ocean planet. Like it's like there's just the tiniest little bits of island on this world as opposed to ours, which has like a lot of landmass. I mean, there's more water than there is landmass, but I think you guys know what I'm saying. Yeah, Moosey, kind of that idea. Like the god sort of gets to decide almost in their dying breath, like what does this new universe look like? It's a cool way to think about it. Samael, I know what you're, yeah, the porcelain sort of idea of you repairing it with molten gold. Um, yeah, I've heard of that too. Sort of fits into our um, reincarnation idea. All right, what's left? Divinity and physics. That's all we've got left for our arcane theories. And maybe we should really try and make one of these like super magical. Divinity. Divinity. What is a theory about divinity? Something I've explored in my D&D settings is like you can become basically a supercomputer is an equivalent creature to a god because they have all of the arcane knowledge. They know how to not only recite and perform spells, but they can perform so many of them all at once that it gives them this like divine power. So, maybe here we go. Could be a divine, or their belief is the only true. How do I want to describe this? The theory is that any mortal who ascends to godhood is inherently flawed because of their own mortal shortcomings in their beliefs, but a constructed god, that's the only true benevolent god. And so maybe they're trying to build that. Ooh, that's a cool idea. Any mortal who ascends to godhood is inherently flawed and dangerous to the realms, but a constructed god is benevolent. Oh, goodness gracious, I'm spelling so many things wrong. But a constructed god is... I feel like that's pretty close to how you spell benevolent. Benevolent. Apparently not. Where's my Google? Oh my god. Autocorrect is so freaking stupid. I was one letter off. Where did it go? There it is. It's benevolent and what? How else could you describe this? Any mortal who ascends to godhood is inherently flawed and dangerous to the realms, but a constructed god is benevolent and safer. It feels like kind of a lame way to describe it, but it works for now. It's good enough to just go down on the page. Yeah, Moosey, that's an interesting theory. A god's magical strength is only as strong as the number of followers they have. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I've got a similar thing to that in my world as well. Colin Lee maybe got our last one here for physics. Exploring siege weapons and making deals of funding with the military. But, okay, so Colin, I feel bad. That's still not quite like a theory, though. Like a theory is sort of a belief or a thing that they're seeking to prove or disprove through arcane experiments and knowledge. So yeah, exploring siege weapons and making deals isn't really like a theory. So what's a theory about the building blocks of physics and how they apply to the mortal realms or whatever? What could it be? Wizard is currently testing a theory that has to do with physics. Something maybe with gravity that's physics related. Kind of like one of the big physics questions. Or it also could just be like planetary bodies. Like maybe there's some sort of theory about how they're interacting. Or like maybe they've discovered, we're kind of getting away from physics and into a sort of a different keyword of like astral heavenly bodies sort of a thing, but maybe they've discovered something about the way that the planets are positioned or the way that they're orbiting. Ooh, what if they have a theory that the stars, like constellations, are arcane glyphs, and it's like the overlapping layers of all these different glyphs in the sky that sort of creates the fabric of reality. Does that make sense? Kind of makes sense in my head, but I don't know if that makes a lot of sense to describe. Mr. Brady said, physics is so hard because basically most of Magic and D&D is kind of related to changing physics already. Maybe experimenting with gravity in a way of giving smaller objects enough gravity to turn them into protoplanets. Yeah, you make a good point. Yeah, physics is sort of maybe it's a keyword that sort of shoots us in the foot a little bit. But I feel like I'm onto something with these constellations, and like magic glyphs are not just something that is written on a small piece of paper, but they are actually, like, a glyph can be on a cosmic scale. The precise orientation of how the planets all align and orbit each other is constantly creating new cosmic level glyphs. Ooh, that's really cool. I like it. The orientation. Come on now. Orientation and orbits of the planets in relation to one another, or to each other, is creating arcane glyphs on the cosmic scale that affect the laws of physics across the universe. Does that make sense? Maybe not, but that's why it's an arcane theory that some crazy wizard is proposing, right? But boom, there we go. D8 list of arcane theories. Let's move on to our next list, arcane trinkets. These are like magical items, but nothing on a crazy power level, right? We're talking like kind of common or uncommon, fun little things that characters can find. I even have our opening little sentence here. Somewhere amidst the mage's possessions is a blank. Let's get some keywords, right? Let's start up our new list. Keywords. Keywords for arcane trinkets. What would be cool? Maybe a mask. That's a keyword that's jumping out to me. A mask could be interesting. A quill or a pen of some kind. Wizards, I'm sure, would have plenty of that in their workshops. Alchemy kit. Maybe something is cool or enchanted with this alchemy kit. Maybe it can stir itself or something like that. A lantern's a good one. We can do lantern. Translation. Translate. Language could also work as a keyword there. Yeah, that's a cool one. Mask, pen, alchemy kit, lantern, translate, coin. Yeah. A coin has me thinking of also like a small, like, treasure chest, like a little box, some sort of miniature storage thing, but I don't want it to just be a box of holding, right? Where it's always just demiplane or whatever's put in there doesn't come out. Or it's like super big on the inside. But how do we make... Is there a way to make a bag interesting that isn't just doing a bag of holding? I'm not sure. Coin could be cool. What else? Feel like we need to do... What about like glasses? Like a wizard has like big weird glasses. We could go Sam Witwicky style. They've been etched with some sort of map. Maybe I'll throw glasses on there. Sure. Oh, Sonia Prado. That's a new name in the chat. Good to see it. Flask. Sure. I'm sure a wizard would have plenty of weird flasks stashed all over the place. Ankle bracelet. That's funny, Colin. All right. Mask, pen, alchemy kit, lantern, translate, coin, glasses, and flask. Needle was on there from Nikos. I kind of like needle... Something about coin. I don't know why. Not to single you out, Mr. Brad. I'm like, what could be interesting about a coin? Like, they spin it and it never stops spinning, like Inception style, or it could be like a John Wick sort of coin. Like, I guess this doesn't really John Wick related. I'm imagining like this one coin, it doesn't necessarily have like a monetary value to it, but if you present it to a wizard, they like owe you a favor. Oh, okay, there we go. Yeah, that's... Never mind, Mr. Brady. That's awesome. I'm going to just throw that down because we've got our list. Start dropping your ideas in the chat. But this coin has no true monetary value, but if presented to another mage, it will... It can be like cashed in for a favor is what I'm trying to say. This coin has no true monetary value, but if presented to another mage... they must repay... It indebts them to a favor? I don't know. How do you spell indebts? I don't know how to spell that. It requires them to perform a favor or task. Why, that feels like such a weird way to describe it. That doesn't make sense to me. This coin has no true monetary value, but if presented to another mage, they obligated. Maybe that's the word I was looking for. They are obligated to take it and repay you with a favor. So it's like this weird, odd little coin that is just constantly getting swapped or handed and exchanged between wizards. And they're like, the favor that could be called in could range. It could be like the simplest little thing of like, I need to borrow the tongue of newt for a little potion I'm making. It's like borrowing a cup of sugar from your neighbor, right? Or it could be something like, I need you to accompany me into the astral realm to investigate a theory. And that's like the favor I'm calling in with this coin. Boom, you can't say no. That's fun. I like that. Okay, let's keep going with our arcane trinkets. Mask, pen, alchemy kit, lantern, translate, glasses, flask. What are we thinking? What's some cool trinkets that a wizard would have or that you would find in a mage's dungeon? Something with flask. Maybe that'll be the one I run with now. What's a magical flask? I don't want it to be something so simple as like, oh, it can just fill with whatever alcohol you want. It's like, boring. I've seen that before. The flask. Open it up. What do you do with a flask? You drink from it. You kind of stash it. It's like a secret thing. You get drunk when you drink from a flask. Sort of like a public... I was going to say like public... Not indecency. Public intoxication is sort of like a trope with a flask. You're tucking it into an interesting spot. Often they have like really cool art or some sort of etching is on it. So maybe something magical about the etching of the flask. Or... Hey, Grandfather Doom's in the chat. Welcome, welcome. Definitely something that interacts with the stars. Interesting. Are you thinking that for the flask? That could be cool. Or maybe when there's a common thing of like pour one out, right? If you have like you have a drink of some kind, you pour one out for a fallen soldier, or pour one out for the homies is like a where you might have heard that saying. So maybe this flask has some sort of enchantment where when you pour it, it could do something with that. That's getting into more like spiritual, priestly, ghostly sort of things, less magical, arcane. So I'm not quite sure. Grandfather Doom has maybe something with telescoping lenses. Interesting. And this is for... I'm just to confirm, are you saying this is something for flasks? Or is this something different? Taylor said for masks, maybe something... Oh, you're picturing something from the comedy and the tragedy masks. Yeah, those two overlapping, the smiling and the frowning. Maybe there's something there. When you get... I'm still thinking on the flask. I'm trying to come up with something cool there. When you get drunk from drinking from this flask, you can... I don't know. I like this idea of you pour a little bit out. Maybe if you pour some onto a wizard's grave, a magical component will grow. Kind of like flowers sprouting up from the grave. Is that interesting? Or maybe when you get... Ooh, what about this? If you get drunk on alcohol stored in this flask, you can see the weave of magic itself, right? If you get drunk enough, you can actually see where magic is flowing around you, which maybe makes your spells a little easier to cast. But it also makes you you're like suffering the poison condition. Maybe that's cool. If you get drunk on alcohol stored in this flask, you can see the ley lines. How do you spell ley lines? Ley lines? Is that... I don't know how to spell ley lines. The weave of magic itself. So stronger spells, but... weaker con, or like you suffer the poison condition. Maybe. I'm not in love with that idea, so if we have something cooler, pitch it. Grandfather Doom saying no, something totally different for telescoping lenses. Okay, so maybe for like the glasses? Is that what you were thinking? The glasses have some sort of telescopic ability? What would it be cool for a pair of wizard's glasses? You put them on. Obviously, you could do X-ray vision, or you see into another plane, or you could see invisible creatures, but all of that's been done. There's like already existing items for that. Ooh, Grandfather Doom also pitching out an idea. For the flask, when you take a drink, your next breath is the voice of the flask's creator and can cast a spell you've lost. Ooh, I like that idea that it can regain a spell slot. You take a swig from the flask, you regain a spell slot, but there's a chance you like instantly get drunk. That's cooler than what I pitched, honestly. Take a swig from the flask and regain maybe we'll even say like a level 1 spell slot, but there's a high chance you instantly get drunk. That's a fun one. That's goofy. I dig it. That feels silly and arcane-ish. Okay, glasses. What works for glasses? And also don't forget, anybody who's got ideas for other ones, pitch them in the chat, right? Here we go from Pedro for an alchemy kit. It is a stomach from a magical beast where you pour ingredients in one end and out the other is a magic potion. Roll a d8 for the random potion. Ooh, a stomach of a magical beast. That's interesting. That's cool. It's like crafted from, yeah, like weird livers and what does your kidney do? Because your liver is like what processes liquids and things. Yeah, some sort of weird crafted from various monster livers and other internal organs that can purify or refine. I don't think you refine. Purify, extract, or and alter chemical properties to craft unique potions. Okay. The alchemy kit is crafted from various monster livers and other internal organs that can purify, extract, and alter the chemical properties of potions. That's kind of cool. Oh, kidneys filter blood? What? Oh, your blood. Wait, is it the bladder then? No, bladder like holds like, I don't know. And it's not necessarily important, I guess, to have like the specific organs down. But I like that idea that this alchemy kit isn't like a bunch of tubes and like glass vials and things, but it's like open organs that are still sort of they've been like sewn or stitched together. So you pour it in the top and it makes its way down through, like kind of drip feeding through these weird organs to create a very bizarre potion at the end. That's a really creepy idea. I like it. Good pitch, Pedro. Grandfather Doom saying, maybe for glasses, you are able to read your spell book no matter where it is. You don't have to have your books with... Oh, that's cool. Yeah, when you're wearing these glasses, you can... Do I want to have it be your spell book? Or could it just be like any book on your shelf? Like they're connected to a specific bookshelf. And so, because like taking I guess it doesn't really honestly come up in my games hardly ever, but technically like a wizard needs their spell book to be able to cast their magic, and if something happens to it, they need to rebuild it. So it seems like kind of a powerful mechanical effect. Be like, well, I just put my glasses on. I guess you could destroy the glasses and then you lose access to the spell book. But I kind of like the idea that any book on this shelf, which could include your spell book, you can read. If you have the glasses, you can just sort of sit, close your eyes, and the glasses allow you to see into the shelf or something, or you go into a meditative state. I like that. So they're tethered to a bookshelf, allowing you to read any book stored on it, so long as you are wearing these glasses. Fun. That's a cool one. All right, things we got left. Mask, pen, lantern, and translate. 4 more. Looks like we got a pitch from Colin for lantern. It uses darkness to hide the wizard. Like, just like the darkness spell, you mean? Or... Oh, I trust you, Pedro. I'm not... Wait, are you really a doctor, Pedro? That's cool. Smarty pants. Let's see. Oh, here we go. Moosey's got one for translate. A highlighter that would translate the written words. Depending on the color, it would translate a language to the users, or it would translate to a language that the user understands. A highlighter. That's funny. Don't love the idea of a highlighter. It just feels too like our world. Like what? There's a highlighter in my fantasy world. That's weird. But some sort of like ink when you write with this ink. Ooh, what about this? It's not quite translate. It's sort of in the realm, but it's a pot of magical ink that when the command word is spoken, well, maybe before I write it, like the idea is, so you could take this ink, you could write whatever you want. You could write a bunch of nonsense basically on a page. You mail it to somebody or it's delivered to somebody, and when they open it, when they speak the command word, the ink rearranges itself into the true message. Like the ink literally moves across the page to rewrite itself. Pot of magical ink that can how would I describe this? That if used to write, I'm just going to put it in maybe a way that doesn't make a ton of sense right now, but a pot of magical ink that if used to write a letter can have a command word spoken. Oh my gosh. Command word spoken that causes the ink to literally rewrite itself to reveal the true message hidden within the ink. That's like such a clunky fucking sentence, but the idea makes sense in my head, and I feel like the way I described it at first also made sense, but it doesn't sound good when you write it that way. But that's a fun idea. I could, like a cool sort of cipher or a secret code, but it's not like, oh, every third letter is actually the real word. It's like, no, everything about this letter will change the way it's written just by speaking this word. That sounds cool. Nikos, welcome into the chat, has an idea for pen. You can draw facial features or you can change the color of hair. Something like a disguise pit, but it's permanent. Or Hello Taylor also said maybe the pen writes down history as it happens. Oh, that's cool too. Ooh, I like both of those ideas. The pen, you can like, whatever you write to describe somebody's physical features, it can make that actually happen to that person is fun. But a pen that's transcribing events as they occur for someone who's like maybe trying to write a tome of history is also a cool idea. Yeah, Colin's sort of a similar idea to Taylor's. It's a scribe. It's scribing everything for you. I think Nikos has kind of the more unique idea, one I haven't maybe like heard before. But I don't love that we have two ideas that are like a magical ink or a magical pen sort of a vibe. So maybe I'll come back to that. What did Grandfather Doom just drop for Lantern? It senses danger and changes color, turning more and more red the closer danger gets. Sort of like Sting from Lord of the Rings, yeah. Got a lantern. Does it change color for danger? Could we do something different? Because Sting and it glows when orcs are nearby or whatever is so classic. What's like a different... When else might you want this lantern to glow? Like when you get near treasure, when you get near... What about a portal? What about changes color whenever you get near somewhere where the barriers between planes of existence is weak. So that, and what's cool about that is it doesn't, obviously if you're walking up to a portal to hell, it's going to be like glowing like crazy and you're looking at this glowing hellish portal. But there could be plenty of places in your world where the barrier between two planes is weak, but it hasn't actually broken. Like there isn't a portal yet, but the wizard could be like, oh, whoa, like there's something like right where we're standing. We could do something. If we can perform a ritual or if we can do something to kind of add just a little bit more weight, we can crack that barrier and we can slip through. That's cool. I like that. Thanks for kind of kicking me off on that, Dad / Grandfather Doom. Pedro V. Nico's idea is cool. Imagine drawing a new face on yourself. Yeah, it's funny. I wasn't imagining you were drawing on yourself. I was almost like imagining you draw a portrait of what you want that person or yourself to look like. Oh, that's fun, because then if you're not a good artist, if you draw like a really wonky picture of yourself, then you'll be like it would change your face and it would look really ridiculous. Almost like a character creator in like a lot of video games where the lips can be like really stretched weird, or like the eyes are teeny tiny and the brows come out really far. Like weird things like that can happen. Can use to draw new disguises / appearances, but the poorer the artist you are, the less convincing the illusionary disguise is. So it's not like you can just be like, well, I'm just going to sketch kind of a rough idea of what I want to look like. It's like, no, it takes it very literally. Disguise is based, I might even add that detail, very literally off of the artistic, or of the artist's rendition? Or portrait? Yeah, the portrait, we'll call it that. Cool. All right, mask. And mask is it. We got one more for mask. What can we do? And we also could change this because pen. Now we've got a pen that changes your disguise. We've got a pot of magic ink that, obviously ink and pen is sort of a related idea. Mask also changes your disguise. It's kind of like 3 weirdly similar themed ideas. So if anybody has a totally different idea, go ahead and pitch it. Like, we haven't done anything for a fun wand or a staff or anything. I kind of actually want to change the keyword entirely. Oh, funny. Grandfather Doom says that loves the idea of the pen doing a better disguise the worse the skill is. That's funny. I kind of want to do something for a staff. What's like a weird, uncommon, or a common rarity type of staff, or some sort of enchantment. Maybe some. I'm imagining that scene where Gandalf kind of knocks on Bilbo's door with his staff. Is there something we could do with a fun enchantment where when you knock on a wall, I don't want it to just be like, oh, it reveals secret doors. But I like this idea of knocking. You knock on the door, and what? It's heard. Oh, what could it be? I don't also want it to be a thing like you knock on the door and it turns into a portal. Like the door can open to anywhere. I've done that before. Anybody got something? What's up, Diomede? Good to see you in the chat. Pen, alchemy kit, lantern, a translating pot of ink, a coin, glasses, a flask. What can we do for staff? What about... No. Ooh, what about something with a candle? I mean, we already have lantern, though, so we don't need to necessarily do another source of light. Grandfather Doom said, what if knocking with the staff inclines the person answering to be one step more favorable towards you? Oh, that's fun. Yeah, that's a cool idea. If used to knock on a door, whoever answers it has disadvantage on charisma saves, but only from you. Or maybe, or a better way to say it might be, if you used to knock on a door, you gain advantage on the first charisma check made to influence whoever answers the door. That's a fun one. That's really cool. I like that. Good idea, Grandfather Doom. Very cool. All right, so we've got our theories, we've got our trinkets. Moving on to our encounters. So what are weird things that you can encounter in a mage's dungeon or a tower? Doesn't super matter. While you guys drop some keywords, I need to go blow my nose real quick. I'll be right back. Okay, keywords. Keywords for our encounters. I want to do like escaped or maybe better one is prisoner. This wizard or this mage is holding somebody prisoner. Maybe they've escaped. I want to do trophies. Something that the wizard has up on display that maybe the players stumble into and can investigate or loot. What else we got? Keywords for some random encounters. Diamond. Oh, maybe just dropping a couple ideas here. A living brick wall, predatory slimes, chatty skulls. Yeah, some of those are. The brick wall is sort of interesting. A living brick wall. I actually like that. Living wall. That's the keyword we'll go with. That's fun. And it's like moving all through the dungeon or the tower, and it kind of just can, like, you might turn a corner and suddenly there's just a wall. You're like, what the, like, what? Why is there a dead end here? That makes no sense. And you might theorize like, ooh, maybe it's a secret door, only to learn, oh, it's a living wall. We have to convince it to let us through. That's kind of cool. Spiral. That's an interesting one from Pedro. A geometric sort of shape that could give us some cool ideas. Keywords. We got a couple from Samael. Rubber duck, because you never touch a rubber duck in a dungeon. Ooh, mate, that must be a joke that I don't. Is that a reference to something? Oh, we're just getting ideas dropped already for trophy. Colin Lee said maybe some wizard hands that still hold wands or staves. Taylor said maybe it's a puzzle room where each trophy weighs a certain amount. You have to match the weight to a scale and get the door to open. Maybe. Let's not get too focused in on specific ideas, though. Let's keep doing our keywords. Like Nikos just dropped something for musical instrument. I like music. It's a fun one. I don't even know if I'll be as specific as an instrument, but music as a keyword. Prisoner trophies, living wall, spiral, music. We want at least 3 more. Reflected spells or shadow magic. Ooh, I like reflected. That's a good keyword from Grandfather Doom. Kind of want to do something with food. I don't know why that's jumping to mind. Like some sort of fun encounter in a dining hall, or where like the mage stores their food could be cool. Yeah, let's go with food. That's my keyword. Chained creature begged for its freedom, but it may be dangerous and lying. Yeah, I mean, that could work for prisoner. A game? Ooh, yeah, like a chessboard. That's so cliche for wizards, though. A game. Like they have some almost like a lounge or a study or a smoking room or something. Poker? Ooh, is a poker room too silly of an idea? That feels really silly. I don't like, yeah, that's a little too silly for me personally. Prisoner trophies, living wall, spiral music, reflected food. Servants, students. Yeah, okay. Grandfather Dooms likes the idea of games or something with cards. The game is the first. Oh, what's up, Marc? The game is the first game, the oldest game. Catch. Let's go with game. Sure. We'll put game down. All right. Now let's run it. Let's start fleshing out these ideas. Prisoner, trophies, living wall, spiral, music, reflected food, game. What do you got? What do you got to pitch here? Take an idea and run with it. A game show. Yeah, I saw that from Moosey. I see it from Father Doom or Grandfather Doom. That's definitely too silly for me. A game. It's like very meta of like, and welcome back to our arc. You know, the spell is right. Like it's it's like a gimmick to me. It's just it's not quite my style. Not to say you can't do it. If that's what you like, go for it. But for me, a little too kind of goofy. Okay, what do I want to do? Prisoner. Maybe ooh, what about here's just a funny one. An overly dramatic homunculus, or maybe like an imp who believes the idea is like the party would run into this, and this creature, this homunculus, would be like, "You have to save me. They're holding me against my will." And then when the party encounters the wizard, they're like, "Are you serious? Did they do this again? Did they really tell you I was holding them?" Like, no, no, no. They can go whenever they want. Like, so that's sort of the idea. Like this dramatic servant who's trying to frame the wizard. I don't know why they would do that though. But I like that idea of someone who would lie about the wizard's true intentions to the party for no other reason than just to make the wizard look bad. Maybe there's something there. I'm not sure. Hey, Samael, have fun at work, dude. I'll see you. Oh, Marc. I came and dropped off an idea and then disappeared into the land of dreams, thanks to not having slept. Oh my god, dude, is it all work stuff? I know work's been crazy for you, man. An overly dramatic homunculus who finds who finds it funny to play the role of the mage's what's the difference between hapless and helpless? Hapless prisoner. Yeah, I feel like that's a cool idea. It's a silly role play type encounter that would lead the party to maybe a confrontation with this wizard that they didn't mean to have or they didn't even want to have. It's all just been because this little tricky familiar is just lying, just to pull kind of a little prank on him. I think that's a cool one. Oh, Dynamine has a fun one. For the game, it's simple. You just roll a dice. Depending on your roll, the next door will open to a different chamber. So you walk in and you just roll a dice and it just causes a random door to open. There's something about that I do like, but I'm not quite sure what like the game is. I feel like you almost need to have like what's the game here? Are you wagering something? If it's a game of poker, or are you playing? I'm not sure. We'll come back to that idea, I think. Oh, hapless just means unfortunate. Okay, then I'll probably change it to helpless. Trophies, living wall, spiral, music, reflected food, game. We got lots to work with. Cole Lee's got one for music. A beautiful bird that can copy the most detailed musical symphony. Ooh, that's fun. Yeah, an exotic bird collection who can each, how do you describe, like, there's a bird collection and each bird can like parrot, or maybe it's just a parrot collection, an exotic parrot collection with each bird having memorized a particular spell. Oh yeah, wizard is trying to teach birds to use magic. So far it hasn't been successful, but you've got all these parrots that are like rah, 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 like mimicking the incantation for fireball, and the party's like, oh my god, are we about to be targeted with a fireball? But the birds, it can't actually cast the spells. That'd be fun. Almost has like Wizard of Oz vibes of like these terrifying voices coming from these like covered cages, and you take it off. Like, oh, it's just a bird. What were we so afraid of? Like we thought there were demons being held in these cages or something. Page 5 has an idea for trophies, a collection of heads frozen in jars. Ooh, I like where this is going. Each head is a rival of the wizard. If you cast a spell magic, the heads come alive, and each head casts a different spell before dying. Yeah, it's giving me Walking Dead vibes. Earlier seasons with the governor, and he had that wall of like fish tanks in his office or whatever, and they were filled with zombie heads. I like this idea of, what if instead of heads, it was brains? Like the wizard was just collecting the brains of other wizards to do what, though? What's the collect? And they're trophies, which implies like they won them. So they beat them in a... maybe we could go back to an idea. I think this came from, was it Colin? Who shared this earlier? I can't remember. But someone had an idea that they were like wizard, like hands holding wands. That would be kind of a cool trophy. Like all the different wizards they've defeated in duels, they like blast their hand off while it's still holding the wand. Maybe they dip them in gold or something. I like that idea. Or do we do the brains? Because Pedro, you definitely got me on this idea of they've taken something from their rival wizards, like bodies, be it their head, their brain. But I kind of like this hand idea. And then they store all of their wands in it. It's like medals. You come home from your wizard duel with a medal, but instead of it being a medal, it's the hand of the person you defeated. A room. Well, I'll call it a trophy room. Is that not how you spell trophy? How the hell do you spell trophy? I thought that's how you spelled it. Trophy. What the? Oh, there's no E. A trophy room filled with gold-dipped hands holding wands, and they are all hands taken from other wizards they've defeated in spell duels. Cool. All right. What's left? Living wall, spiral, reflected food, games. So we still got like five more. What's for the living wall? How do we make that interesting? Sort of like it makes me immediately think of Harry Potter when Hagrid like taps on the bricks and they pull away to reveal this magical train station. But I don't want to obviously just do that. But maybe there's something here. Maybe there's something in that vein that we could do. I don't know. Or maybe the Wizard's Tower has no doors. Well, now we're not really in an encounter. We're more in like the dungeon design. Oh, that's fun. Grandfather Doom says maybe the trophies are all beards. Like the big, long, wispy beards taken from other wizards and spellcasters. Each is a minor version of a flaming skull. It's a cool idea, too. So they did take their heads with the beard still on them. Colin Lee said for music, maybe it's a bunch of parrots, like the movie Two. Oh, I don't know that movie. I think we already did that, didn't we? Yeah. Yeah, Colin, we already did. We got the parrot idea for music. And you've got trophies down. Spiral. Here we go, Diomede. Come in with a spiral idea. Maybe it's a spiral staircase that is an endless loop in both directions, unless you know the trick to escape it. Yeah, it's definitely a trope, but maybe we can make it not a trope. Spiral. What's something about a spiral? And also, we want to try and make sure like these are meant to be random encounters, not necessarily room designs. These are sort of meant to be things that could kind of happen anywhere in the Wizard's Tower, and we've kind of gotten away from that a little bit, especially with this trophy room idea. Like, you could technically run into one of their pet birds anywhere in the tower. If maybe they let them kind of fly around freely. You could run into this dramatic homunculus anywhere in the tower. So, let's try and remember that, too. Spiral. How the hell is spiral a random encounter? Could be something where when you open the door to step, like you end up in this loop of you keep entering into the same room over and over and over again. But again, how is that a random encounter and not just a room design? Here's something from Nikos. Food. So dining with the mage's love. Find out about crucial information, learn about weaknesses, get arcane. Oh, that's fun. Yeah, that's a great one. That's a good example of an encounter that it is sort of set to a specific room, but it can kind of happen in any tower at any time. The wizard has dinner guests over who are having a very strange and heated conversation or debate. So when your players arrive at the wizard's tower, it's not just the wizard all alone in this tower. They're like, well, now's not a great time, actually. I have some friends over, but sure, come in. We'll just make this quick, right? And then the players can meet these other friends of the wizard. That's a cool idea. I like that a lot, Nikos. That's a great idea. Taylor says maybe for food, you could do something with it's the kitchen where the adventurers get fussed over by a motherly kitchen spirit. Mm. Or Colin says for food, maybe the wizard is probably popular and can't afford to make patterns of where he eats because of assassins and always has to eat different food to avoid poisoning. What's the encounter? Like, we could do it in a random encounter where an assassin is like, ooh, I kind of like that. Sure, actually. Well, we already did food, though. But I like this idea of an assassin is like trying to poison the wizard while the party is there. That's kind of cool. I might actually just swap that out for Spiral. I'm not sure what to do with Spiral, but I like this assassin idea that Colin sort of gave us here. So the party stumbles upon an assassin attempting to sabotage the wizard's wand or spellbook. Do something to it that would cause it to be explosive the next time they use it. Like the next spell they cast, it automatically releases a fireball right where they're standing. That's a cool encounter. That's definitely a random encounter. All right, so we got Living Wall, Game, and Reflected. That's what we got left. Hey, 55 on Tuesday. Appreciate the appreciate that super chat. Thank you very much. Everybody, drop a little like for 55 on Tuesday if you don't mind. But much appreciated. I'll go straight to the church's coffers. What's up, Katie McRae? I'm new. Spiral makes me think of Twilight Zone and like spiraling into madness. Yeah, well, first of all, welcome, Katie. Welcome to the Church of Doom. Glad you're here. Glad you're having a good time. Yeah, I feel bad. I just cut Spiral to swap it, but maybe we could do something with Spiral and Madness and Twilight Zone with our Reflected idea. You see reflections of yourself. I don't know. G. Joel Moore said, maybe for Spiral, a PC... It's funny that, of course, as soon as I cut Spiral, now we're getting ideas for it. A PC sees a spiral in a painting and must save, or the spiral starts spinning, and the PC is hypnotized and attacks other party members. Yeah, that's kind of cool. I did have this idea of some sort of, like, spiral in the floor that once it's triggered, it starts to, like, literally, like, spiral out of control, and, like, the whole room starts to become all chaotic and madness. But is that... like a glyph they trigger, maybe, or something like that? I don't know. Ooh, Grandfather Doom says maybe the phase spider weaves a spiral web that it uses to pass in and out of the prime material plane. Yeah, so maybe... I kind of like that idea of spiders. And like a hall weave... the wizard has a section of their tower they've just allowed spiders to move into for some reason. Oh, that's fun. Yeah, let's go with that. So it's not really... I'm going to change it from spiral to just spiders. The wizard has allowed giant spiders to take over a part of their dungeon/tower to study and keep as pets. Their webs are woven in intricate arcane patterns. Ooh, that's kind of a cool idea. Like, if you just... Ooh, maybe I'm going to add this real quick. That release spells when the webs are disturbed. So if a character, gets like stuck in the web and it, vibrates, it can release a magic missile spell or a shatter spell or a petrification spell. I have no idea. But the wizard is sort of like, yeah, these giant spiders are dangerous, but they're fascinating, aren't they? Wow, they're just so strange. And they've been studying them. And that's a great encounter because it can be anywhere in the tower. Really fun one. Thanks for kicking that one off, Grandfather Doom. All right, what's left? Living Wall and Game. That's what we got left. Colin Lee said maybe for Game it's a small size of a city and plays a game of... a small games... I like this Sims basic. You're like pitching they're playing a game of Sims. It's like a little simulated city. That's fun. Yeah. Yeah, the wizard has trapped an entire village, or maybe even a city, inside a miniature replica, and has fun introducing new challenges, maybe, for them to overcome. The idea is Sims. That's the idea here. The random encounter is the party finds maybe like a painting or some sort of replica or a tapestry or whatever. Maybe they open a chest and it's like, oh my god, there's people living in here. That's actually, my brother did a campaign setting that was all about that. A whole world inside a wizard's chest, which was cool. But that could certainly be a random encounter. And you find a bunch of people living in a little town. It's almost like if you've watched Love, Death, and Robots, I think it's in the first season, there's like an episode where this couple moves into an apartment, they open their freezer, and they find out like, oh my god, there's a whole world inside this freezer. That's sort of the idea here. That's a fun one. All right. Love that for the game. Last one is Living Wall, and I have no idea. Oops, I forgot to charge my phone. Hang on, before it dies. There we go. Why is my laptop not charging? What the? Well, it's fine. It doesn't need to be charging right this second, but it is concerning that hold on. Why? Oh, there it goes. Now it's charging. I don't know what was stopping it. Okay, anyways, Living Wall. What can we do for that? Diamond has something that sort of combines the game and the Living Wall. It's a mini version of the dungeon where you can move walls around and your movement is then transferred into reality, allowing you to control the dungeon. Oh, cool. So you look down, you're like, what an interesting dungeon map. And you can kind of shift things around, not realizing the dungeon itself is shifting. That's kind of cool. Yeah, I might run with that. The Living Wall, this is from G. Joel Moore. Maybe the Living Wall creates doors for the party to enter unknowingly into its stomach and be devoured. I think so much of this idea is dependent upon, is the wall sentient? We're saying it's a living wall. So does that mean you can talk to it, or is it like a mimic sort of organism? I'm more drawn towards you can talk to it. Oh, what about, here's an idea. Here we go. The Living Wall is actually, hold on, move stuff out of my way. The wall is actually one of the wizard's students who is being punished for something. I'm not sure what. He's being punished in the form of being transmuted into a wall that guards a secret chamber. Is that interesting? I'm not sure if the motivations are very... Like, the fact that he's just hiding a secret room isn't very cool. But I do like this idea that the wizard is like, you've done something wrong, or you failed your test, or you've upset me, and as your punishment, you are now turned into a wall. So you have to just... The idea being like, sit and think about what you did. Sit and think about it. And it's just a wall. But like, how does the party interact with that? Or maybe it could be... Maybe instead of a wall, it could just be a door. Like the front door is one of the wizard's pupils. That could be fun. Or yeah, Katie says maybe it's something like Tom Riddle's diary where you could write on, you write on it and it answers back. Something similar there with the door. Maybe. I really like this idea of like the trope of an old crazed mad mage just like punishing their students in the most cruel or ridiculous ways. There's a lot of fuel there for fun ideas. Yeah, Diomede, exactly. You are so dumb, I might as well be talking to a wall. Hey, wait a minute. That's hilarious. I might add that little motivating statement to help me flesh this out in the future. You're so dumb, it's like talking to a wall. ... Oh, that's hilarious. I love it. Cool. Okay. Well, guys, kind of a quick one today, a little over an hour, all about the brainstorming. But I wanted to, I want to have some stuff ready to publish on Sundays, part of the Sunday Homebrew, and this is a good start. So I'll have a couple days to edit these down, get some artwork done for it. But I'm gonna go. I kind of got to wrap one up today a little quicker than usual. I got a busy day, but Thank you all for your ideas. We say these things in your unholy names. Amen. I'll see